he told me, we were talking, and he's like, yeah, I'd like to talk to you about building you a website. And I was like, man, I think the last thing on the earth that I need is a website. I got one. We like have a company that does that. And he's like, yeah, but yours sucks. And in the nicest way. He didn't say that. He just said it in the nicest way. And he showed me some of the work that he had done for all of the people that I mentioned earlier, like Frank and JJ and Dean, the deans. And I was like, God, that's just so amazing. And you guys should go check them out because the work is exceptional, and it's so far above and beyond anything else I've seen that I was like, I know that I have to do this. I'm like, how much is it? And he gave me the price, and I was like, that's insane. That's crazy. I can get it done for $5 on Fiverr. And I didn't say that because I know it's absolutely worth every penny. The process that I went through with him from the very beginning was very, very clear that it was different from anything else. And I'm not saying this to sell you. I'm telling you this to think about with your business, and I think he might talk about this a little bit too. He interviewed me twice, and halfway through the second interview, he said, I think I've got a feel for the colors I'm going to use. I was like, you got a feel for the colors you're getting? So I'm not getting like a theme from WordPress or something like that. You're actually thinking about me and my personality and my brand and what I want to convey in everything down to the colors and fonts. That was really impressive. Then he sends me a link to Basecamp, and I do Basecamp for other projects I have. It's a project management thing, and he's got like 19 people that are on the team that are doing stuff, and I've got a person that's assigned to me, and I'm going through the process, and I have homework, and I'm accountable because there's due dates that they give me. And then if I miss one, they're very nice. They don't say you missed it. It just says, due date moved 1 day forward. Due date moved 1 day forward. And it's like, all right, that's very clever. I saw that. And but ultimately, he managed the hell out of the process. All of his people are beyond professional, and I think we can all learn a lot from how that process gets managed if he shares any of that today. But let's give him a big hand, and I know he's going to share amazing things with you. Dmitriy Kozlov.
Thank you.
And look at his shoes.
Meow.
Look at the shoes.
Good morning. Thank you, Roland and Patrick, for that amazing introduction. So today we'll talk about how to create your perfect personal brand influencer site. So you're going into a deal, or you're making a new meaningful business connection in some way. Maybe you're speaking on stage, and someone goes to Google your name. You ask yourself, are you proud of what your name.com currently looks like? And it's the same deal if you are getting PR and it goes back to your website, especially personal PR. Are you proud of what your name.com currently looks like, and does it fully express your essence and who you are? And more importantly, probably, does it drive the kind of business results that you're looking for? See, I believe that your influencer site is the center of your online universe, and everything else, your social profiles, the PR you're getting, stages you're speaking on, all of those other things are satellites to that center. So because of that, you want an influencer site that drives results, firstly, in the form of leads and sales, that builds authority and trust, that gets remembered and shared if it's an awesome site. That's a big bonus. And that expresses your essence. And I've got a really fun font for essence expression that's not showing up here. So we get a new one. Fonts are a big deal to me. So three things to know about me. One is I'm not here as a speaker so much as I'm here as a specialist. And I specialize in helping entrepreneurs express their essence in a way that also drives profitable business results online from their personal brands, like we just did for Roland. And this is we actually had a lot of fun in the middle of his photo shoot. Part of Roland's essence and his personality is really great wine, and he's got this wine room that we during the photo shoot got to enjoy a little bit there. Two, personally, I love cats and poetry. and you'll see how both of those fit into remembering some of this stuff today. And 3 is my personal purpose. Why I'm here on this planet is to accelerate the evolution of love through inspiring and empowering influencers. And I do that through my main company, my agency, Influex, which is really just the combination of influence and expression, with the belief that your greatest influence and impact comes from your greatest personal expression. The more you express who you are, online, offline, just the more you bring your essence out into the world, the more of an influence you have in the world. Therefore, the more impact and the more successful your business is. So what we do at Influex is we build beautiful influencer sites that express your essence and amplify your influence. So what influence can you expect from this expression today? Well, you'll learn all the influencer ingredients and how to put them together in the results recipe to build your brand site, whether you do this yourself, whether you hire somebody on Fiverr, or whether you hire a really great professional agency, you'll have the results recipe and formula to create a site that drives results, that builds authority and trust, that gets remembered and shared, and that expresses your essence. So firstly, everything I talk about today will be looked at through these 3 pillars. The 3 pillars of a perfect personal brand site are: 1 is purpose, 2 is perception, and 3 is personality. The primary purpose of your site. So asking yourself on the site and on every page and every section, right, this goes in layers, what do you want somebody to do? What's the primary purpose that that section or your site overall is looking to achieve? 2, perception, right? What do you want people to feel and remember as they experience you? Much like, what do you want people to feel and remember when they experience you when you walk into a room or into a business deal or on a stage? It's a similar experience online. What do you want people to feel and remember? I love this Neil Patel article where he talks about how spending $162,000 on clothes made him $692,000. And he did nothing different except upgrade his wardrobe tremendously and then go into the same types of business deals and upped his closing ratio, and people started offering him and paying him more money because perception matters. You up your perception online in your influencer site through great photography, through expert storytelling, through power positioning in really great copy, and of course through design and branding. Now, perception matters, but not as much as personality. And personality will impact perception because this is really all about being authentic. So it's asking yourself, is your site an authentic expression of you? So 3 different sites that all follow the same results recipe that we've done over the years. On the left, you have Frank Kern. In the middle, you have Yannick Silver. And on the right, on the other side, you have Mike Koenigs, right? All following virtually the same results recipe. One looks like a newspaper or direct response ad. The other one looks like a colorful, playful journal. And then the last one looks like it is literally like you're watching a Hollywood or TV show or celebrity show in a way. And they're all following a very similar formula, which we'll go through today. So through being fully authentic online, you can follow a results recipe, but then your expression in your site and in your branding is authentic. Through being authentic, you give other people permission to be as well. So warning, as you go to do this, this is really hard, which is why most online influencers never ever get this right, even those you look up to. And even those you study and learn from and buy courses from, pay a lot of money to, many of them never get this part of it right, which is why so many of them have hired us. And even most web professionals suck at getting you a really great results-driven website, much less one that authentically expresses your essence. So Who's ever wasted money, time, or energy on a site just by show of hands without getting the results you want? Yes, it's painful. And that's because neither the web professionals nor most marketers and entrepreneurs have the results recipe. So what I'm sharing with you today is the recipe and the ingredients, at least for getting this started for yourself in a way where you don't have to go through all of that pain, struggle, waste time, energy, and money on it. And then when you do go make the investment in doing this, whether you do it yourself or you hire someone, you'll have a structure. So if you type into, most of you have laptops open. If you don't, I recommend actually going through this with me as we do it. So rather than just give you another talk and load you with a bunch of information, I actually want to give you a tool and a template that will go through some of this over the next 30 minutes or so. And this is a piece of the exact process that we actually bring our clients through. This is my first time playing with something like this from a stage. And I'm really excited because you'll get to take this home and actually get a result out of it and implement it. So go there right now, influex.com/model. So influex.com/model. Who's seeing a Google Doc on your screen? Awesome. If you go to File and then make a copy, you should be able to make a copy of that document in your own Google Drive. So now what you have in your Google Drive is you have a template for the homepage copy for what 80 to 90% of great influencer sites, and this also applies to many company and brand sites, what 80 to 90% of sites will actually use, and you'll get to plug this in for yourself, either yourself now or with a copywriter, you'll have the structure. So with that, who's gotten that copied for themselves? Awesome. So with that, I want to give you the total tour, the influencer ingredients for a really successful influencer site homepage, as well as a few other tips on other pages. What you have in your Google Drive now is the formula for the homepage. And I'll go through each of these with detailed examples. By the way, the other thing you have on that document link is you have all of our resources, including access to some of Patrick's really great material on storytelling, and a photography guide, as well as access to all of these slides, so that you don't have to take pictures, because I'm going to run through a ton of examples. So don't worry about taking pictures. Don't even worry about taking notes. Only write down the things that feel like super relevant to you as you're applying this for yourself. The top of the site will have a header with photo, video, power statement. I'll go through a bunch of examples in a moment. Also in your header above the fold, we'll have an email opt-in. Then we have your compelling story introduction. I have the privilege of skipping that entire lesson today because Patrick Combs did the best origin story talk that could possibly be taught on this exact thing. So I get to just rush right through that, and we get to go into credibility and social proof. We'll run through examples of that. Then an invitation to work with you once you've built that relationship. The content preview. So we'll go through examples of how to give value upfront on your site. Social connections with purpose versus just random little social media icons that probably nobody clicks on, and then when they do, they leave your site. And finally, the thing that makes your site most memorable, your shoes. So the footer of a site. So we'll go through each of these examples. I'm going to rush through some of them, and I'll stop on a few so that you can really get the useful lessons out of them. And other thing you have access to in that same document is our standard homepage formulas and a couple of our templates for this. Now, these aren't actual templates. These are wireframes that we custom create each time for a client But after doing this dozens and dozens of times for some of the top influencers, we've really come up with a structure. So we've given you 2 out of our top 5 structures in there in case you want to just directly swipe them as you're applying this. The header with power statement, hero shot, and video. So example of that for Mike Koenig's. Become a business thought leader, influencer, and authority. Amplify your visibility, income, impact, lifestyle, and brand. Invitation to watch the video. Then directly in there is the opt-in. All of this is above the fold, and then you see at the bottom there, still above the fold, some of the credibility and social proof. So you immediately know, why am I on this site? Is this person serving me? What are they serving me with? I can get to know more right away through watching the video and creating a deeper connection. There's the friendly picture of him that immediately establishes rapport and gets you to know and recognize Mike. And then there's a highly valuable opt-in that helps you do the things that are outlined in the header. And then there's social proof, or credibility rather, right below the opt-in there. As you look at this in the document, you'll see there's a bunch of other examples for this, and you'll start to write, based on those examples, your own headline, as in your power statement, your opt-in headline, and then if you choose to do a video, you can totally do that in there, or you can just have the hero shot, as we did for Roland. So Roland's headline is to add tools and strategies to help you profit from change. And deeper on that is to create a culture of innovation, engage and align your team, improve your happiness, wealth, and personal freedom. Then is to get free access to the 585 multiplier tool and training, right? And then it explains the benefits of that. So it's headline that tells you why you're here and what you'll get from visiting the site. The range of benefits that you'll get, and the immediate invitation to start to get those benefits even before we scroll down and build the rest of the relationship on the site. And then, of course, we have the friendly picture of Roland there, and in this case, we have the background. I don't know if it shows up on these slides with different experiences of Roland in his different environments, ranging from speaking on stage to playing piano, to being in the wine room. I'll run through a few of these. For Jeff Walker, we're about to launch his site within a few days. Build a business you love, live the life of your dreams. Less about launches in this case, and really about what Jeff's truly about. And then the invitation to start doing that is the specific launch product strategies. Jules, Live Life on Fire. What I love about these 2 examples is Live Life on Fire, just a few words. David Bach, right? Bestseller of at least 9 different books on the New York Times bestseller list. Everything summarized into 4 words. Live rich, finish rich, and then here's how you start doing that. We'll skip a few of these. Joe Polish. This is a bit of a longer one, and also a great example. So there are 2 ways to run a business. You can have an ELF business, easy, lucrative, and fun, or you can have a half business, hard, annoying, lame, and frustrating. And then the invitation to the opt-in is, again, to help you do the things that are just displayed in the power statement. So this is like meeting Joe and then immediately getting some sort of value. We just talked about Dan. So for Dan, your body is your business. Reclaim your fitness so you can finally rival your entrepreneurial success. So he appeals to entrepreneurs who want to get into better shape, or who know they're not in great shape. So therefore, his language is, wow, your body is your business. We actually wrote a lot of this copy for him. It's really fun to be able to connect people's essences to their business message. And again, good to learn from the opt-in here as well, high performance habits in 8 days. So immediate benefit within X time frame. We'll run through a few of these. You got opt-in examples on there, so we'll jump through these as well. Compelling story introduction. Right after we've introduced ourselves, and then given immediate value. Ideally have a little bit of credibility or social proof below the opt-in. Then it's, let's get to know each other better. You do that through the origin story work that Patrick just shared. So we'll skip through a lot of these examples in this case and know that there are both bio-type examples that lead into the stories and specific story examples, including some from Patrick directly in that document as you go to apply this for yourself. Who's following along in the Google Doc? Cool. Who's not following along in the Google Doc? Cool. So we got about half and half. Awesome. I do encourage, definitely watch all of this, and I encourage implement in that document because that's what will actually get you the takeaways that apply this to your business. Whether you have somebody on your team do it for you or not, just literally a few minutes during this talk of doing something in there will get you to be 80% more likely to actually implement this in your business rather than having it be just another item on a to-do list. So we'll skip. Actually, I'll read Frank's about out loud because this is actually just really funny. So about Frank Kern, 3 reasons you should not be here. We did not write this, by the way. Frank is an amazing copywriter, and it's all of his sense of humor. I just enjoy sharing it. So hi, I'm Frank Kern. I always love the About Me page on websites like this because they're written in the third person, even though they're typically written by the owner of the site. So after Frank Kern made several attempts to sound smarter than he really is, by writing about himself in the third person, he quickly abandoned that approach and decided to write this like it was a letter to a friend, which in many ways it is. Anyway, what do you want to know? I'm 44 years old, live in San Diego with my wife, Natalia. We have 4 kids, 2 bunnies, and a dog named Charlie Murphy. I'm guessing that's not the kind of stuff you're looking for. You're probably wondering, is this guy worth my time and attention? For many readers, my answer is no. Here's why, and then gives us 3 reasons. So he's a little like humor plus polarization, then invitation into what he's actually all about that displays his value. So this is a really fun example to look through, and it kind of blends some of the origin story stuff with just a different approach to copywriting. So we'll jump through a number of these. And again, they're all in your document to implement. For Joe, also when Joe started working with us, he came to us with this like bio of all of Joe's accomplishments, which everybody knows who knows Joe that he has a lot of accomplishments. And his story started with him being the Deborah carpet cleaner to who he is now. And his About page tells that story a whole lot more, including images from that time. But wait, great. We got to do this on Roland's site, of course. And I've loved being able to do this is if you have pictures as you work on the origin story, if you have pictures from that time, from many years ago, whether it's you as a teen or you at the time of your origin story in any capacity, put those on your site and About page as you tell the story. It really brings people into the experience. Once you've told the story, or once you've invited people, this is still on the homepage, you've invited people into your story and created a greater personal connection, you can start to build more credibility. We do this through a few different ways. So media logos, places you've been featured, putting a client list on there, putting a bestseller status on there, if you've got that, putting article links to places you've been featured, as well as just photos with people that you or people in your market admire, as long as they're authentic and true, like you're not just like running up and taking a celebrity selfie, but they're people who you're actually connected with in some way. So for Mike Koenig's, in his office, you walk around and you see a wall of him and the people that he's interviewed. So we decided to recreate that wall on his site. I'll show a few examples of these. Obviously, if you've got bestseller status, you share that on there. For Patrick, chosen speaker of more than 1,500 organizations, right? And the logos of just some of those companies and then photos of him speaking and the different expressions of him speaking. The great thing that this does on the home page is that it immediately builds a lot of credibility without Patrick having to talk about how great he is at speaking or sell himself. But it's also done in a very, in design-wise, it's a subtle feeling thing, but it says so much in one screen capture. And then the difference, credibility and social proof. Social proof is an aspect of credibility and has more to do with things that people are saying about you. So I like this where, if you're Mike Koenigs or you're Dean Graziosi or you're Joe Polish, you've got Richard Branson and Tony Robbins saying great things about you. I'll come right back to that. And if you're JJ Virgin, you just feature the impact you're having on your actual customers and people that you serve. So you can go either or both. I recommend on your homepage having a combination of actual, anybody who's saying something about you that's maybe an industry icon, as well as somebody that you've served in some way. And then we've got, for Roland, pictures of him with fellow industry leaders as well. So we've got Robert Cialdini, Damon John, Tim Ferriss, Sarah Blakely, William Shatner. So just really cool that, you can, a lot of you have spoken or have connected with people that would be really relevant to your audience. Just including those photos oftentimes on your site can help to build more immediate credibility with your audience. Quick formula for testimonials when you're doing this in design, and you'll see this in your document as well if you scroll down on the home page to the testimonials section. Instead of just having one big blurb of here's the thing that the person sent me, because most people don't know how to give really great testimonials, you take that and you curate it by looking at what's the best result that I can identify here, put it on top, quote it as a larger, bold, centered headline, and then put the rest of the testimonial story, if you choose to include the whole thing, below, and then put the name and face below that. So this is a great one on JJ's site where we just took the main call out, put it on top, and then the rest of the result below. And the rest of it can be shorter or longer, depending on the actual story. Most people on sites don't read, they skim. So as you're building, as you're putting your copy together, keep in mind headlines apply to everything, including social proof, credibility, and testimonials. Your work with me section. Cool. Who's still following along in the document? Awesome. Your work with me section, now that we've connected initially and showed the person why we're here and how we serve them, offered immediate value, told our story in some way, built social proof and credibility, now we have an opportunity to invite them to work with us in some capacity. So depending on what that is, again, for Mike, it was more private advising. For Dan, it's primarily his fitness training, but then there's also his book and his programs. So when you have different areas, just pick the top thing. Obviously, well, not so obviously, but in many cases, if you don't have a program that you're out there selling, the most relevant thing is just getting somebody to book an appointment with you if they're the relevant person. So if you're speaking to your audience on your site, you're doing all the things we talked about. By this point on your homepage, they're a lot more likely to be in the point in the relationship with you while they'll book an appointment. So I'll go through a few examples of this. The content preview. Who here blogs or writes articles, whether externally or on your own blog at all? Awesome. Who here posts on social? Who are your posts on social in a way that's like relevant to your business? Cool, awesome. Or who here has a podcast? Cool. So you can do this before or after the Work With Me section, because this is just more free value at this point. But this is also where you start to generate more leads from your site through giving value. Now, we talked about authentic expression before. Like for Yannick Silver, his blog is literally just like a journal design. For Frank, it looks more like a direct response ad, both authentic expressions of who they are. For Sachet here, he has three, looks like this is an old screenshot with some bacon ipsum there. But he has 3 primary articles in the library. So if you're not blogging frequently, a really good strategy is to just write 3 core solution-based articles or guides on your site, put them on there, remove the dates, and have them just be really great resources that you give away. They don't have to be behind an opt-in. They can be part of the blog, because what that does then is it'll get those shared among your market, because it'll be whatever the top like most valuable stuff that you have. Put it in your blog posts, give it away for free, have 3 or 4 of them, and have those be your core pieces of content. And then you can always republish those on other platforms as well. Obviously, this is where you can have your videos, podcast, or anything that you're giving away that's of high value for free. And when you're putting this on the homepage, you can either do the most recent. What I recommend doing instead of just the most recent is naming it most popular, right? And then choosing whatever both the most valuable content is, and ideally, if you know some of your audience's objections to working with you or working with somebody in your industry, some level, you can answer those objections through the content pieces on your site. So this content preview can do a whole lot for you beyond just saying, hey, here's my most recent blog posts and what we're up to. If you're running a podcast, Smart Podcast Player is great on there. We'll jump through a few of these. And if you're not writing or blogging often, but you are you're posting often on any primary platform, let's say especially Facebook or Instagram, you can actually embed the social media streams so it looks like there's always something new and fresh going on your site, even if you're not actually updating your site often. So this brings me to social connections with purpose. Who's seen, or maybe you currently have these on your site, those like little circle social media icons are just like little links. And there's like 6 or 7 of them. People oftentimes aren't active on half the platforms, and then when you click them, they leave the site. So while I'm not totally against having social media links like that, if you're going to have social connections featured on your site and your homepage, do so with intention and with purpose, because every link on your site needs to have an intention or purpose. Otherwise, it's taking up valuable real estate and is a potential distraction from somebody doing business with you. So for Roland, the connection section here has his, first off, the picture of him with the iPhone, and then the Messenger app within the iPhone is representative of somebody messaging him, which for Roland is part of lead generation and connecting with his audience. There's the fan page, where somebody can click like and follow and scroll through without leaving the site. And then the first invitation on the side for the social connections is also to send to Messenger. This send to Messenger thing you can also have on your site in terms of having, you could actually see it in the bottom corner there, that little lightning icon. If you click on that on Roland's site, it'll message to his Messenger while still staying on his site. So another great form of lead generation. So again, instead of just having social icons that take you somewhere, have them either follow while they're staying on the site, or actually go into some sort of a lead generation and connection sequence for you. Similar thing with Sterling Griffin here, and both in Roland's you can see his Instagram feed on the bottom there. So just sharing what's going on recently personally, especially being a personal brand site. And for Sterling, similar thing. For Dean Graziosi, now he did want people to go to the individual sites, but instead of just putting the icons up there, we're saying specifically what happens on what platform, right? On Facebook, discuss the latest with me. On YouTube, watch my videos. Instagram, direct way to connect with me. And on Twitter, I post inspirational quotes. And then if you want the newsletter, obviously he has other really great opt-in strategies. Don't just do a newsletter. But this is this kind of whole social section on his site. There's intention and purpose with every piece there. And finally, after all of this, you scroll to the bottom of the site. Now, the footer on most sites seems to be this throwaway thing. Like there's a bunch of links in there, you don't really know what's going on. And know that the footer of your site is seen on every single page that somebody visits when they scroll to the bottom. Every blog post, every page, even your contact page, it's literally everywhere on your site. So it has to be a section that you put together and design with probably as much, if not more intention, like than the middle of your site, and certainly as much intention as the navigation and what's happening above the fold. So in the footer, what shoes are you wearing? So you'll remember a lot of this presentation, hopefully purpose, perception, and personality, by my cat slippers and shoes here. At the bottom of a site, what I recommend doing is firstly, repeat your opt-in. Secondly, have a great connected, playful picture. And then you can either put the social connections with purpose down here, or you can just have those two primary things here. So for, you can see the example for Dan. For Joe Polish, again, social connection plus opt-in, great photo of him in the background. For Scott Keffer, invitation to take his assessment at the bottom, with him kind of like very, very much inviting that, and credibility right above that. For Mike, him jumping down in his golden suit, he's a little more professional on top and a little more playful at the bottom. Social connections with purpose on one side of him, and the invitation to opt in on the other side. And for Roland, you get to enter his wine room. There's a re-invitation to the same opt-in that you saw on top, and a re-invitation to connect with him on social networks in a different way than we just did above. So the influencer ingredients total tour recap. We've got up top, header with photo, optionally a video, and a power statement. As part of that, we've got our email opt-in. We build a little credibility, ideally below the email opt-in, then we give our compelling story introduction and create connection with our audience. We share after that credibility and social proof. Once we've done all of that, we invite them to work with us in some capacity, schedule a call, appointment, invite us in to speak, coach, do a deal, whatever that might be. Then we give free value and content, ideally in a way that can also handle objections and generate leads. Then we create social connections with purpose, and we end strong with a footer in a memorable, fun way. Okay, I updated these slides right before, and it looks like this is the most recent one. So rather than going into questions, because I've got just over 3 minutes here, I would love to end with a poem. Who wants me to end with a poem? Sure. Awesome. One of the core expressions of my essence is I'm a spoken word artist, in addition to what I do online, and it actually plays into it because I believe, again, your greatest influence comes from your greatest expression. And the main thing that I write about is the journey of the entrepreneur. One of my heroes in both entrepreneurship and design is Steve Jobs. So who's ever watched the 2005 Steve Jobs commencement speech at Stanford? Awesome. Yeah, really incredible video. If you haven't, check it out on YouTube. And this is a 90-second version of that, channeled through spoken word poetry. So just take a deep breath with me. You never know the last breath you will take. So face death every day. Because in the face of death, everything falls away, leaving only what is truly important to you. Your beauty, your story, your truth, your music, your soul, what you do as unity forms within you and your music is pouring from you till every last bit of your fuel and your courage is used. And even when it feels like your hustle is useless, just remember that nothing is useless. And there's a reason that you've been suffering through this, because it's something that moves you to remember the truth that you've got nothing to lose. And even more so, you've got nothing to prove. So just do what you love and love what you do. Trust in your music. Fuck your excuses. Stay hungry. Stay foolish. Thank you. Cool. Thank you.
That was fantastic. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Let's give him one more hand. Thank you, Dmitry. All right, guys, we're going to take a 10-minute break right now. We're going to come back with Roland Frazier, the man, the myth, the legend. So he'll be back up in 10, right? You guys don't want to miss that, so get back in here, and thank you so much. See you in a few minutes.